Hi, Kia listeners. Let's Learn Sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. Also, YouTube. There's some video content still to come on YouTube. What an excellent basho this was, the November Basho Grand Sumo Tournament from Kyushu in Fukuoka City in deep south Japan on the island of Kyushu. We finally have an Ozeki Yusho with Terunofuji away. We had the Ozekis battling it out. Which Ozeki won the Basho? Well, last fight of the night, last night on day 15, Hoshoryu faced up to Kodazakura. Both Ozekis, they faced off for the title, both on 13 wins and 1 loss. Winner of the bout takes the Emperor's Cup, the flag, and all importantly, the giant macaroon cookie. Anyway, both have had an excellent tournament after a fairly insipid September for the pair of them with 8 and 7. Kodazakura's strength this tournament and in his fighting generally is his incredible balance and base from which to defend. And clearly, Hoshoryu, he has incredible strength, big body core, demonstrated by his ability on day 14 to lift Kirishima clean off the ground for a suridashi, lift out all 147 kilograms of him. An incredible moment in sumo history if ever there was one. So who would win? Stable, balanced, base, or great strength? So Kodazakura faced off against Hoshoryu. Kodazakura down in the position first. Hoshoryu, as always, taking his time, preferring to go second into the starting position. Hoshoryu went hard at the tachiai, delivered 4 powerful Nodowa neck thrusts. This pushed Kodazakura back, and he was having some pretty good effect at pushing Kodazakura back by hitting him in the neck. Hoshoryu used the moment to drive in and grab the outside belt grip. Hoshoryu pulled Kodazakura around, got inside his legs so he could pull Kodazakura around his hip for the belt throw. Kodazakura, he pulled around and hopped on his right leg as he tried to regain his balance. You could see his right quad muscle was doing absolutely everything. Anyways, Kodazakura, he regained his balance. It meant that Hoshoryu was left in a bit of an awkward spot. As Kodazakura's hips went back, Hoshoryu was too committed, lost his footing. At the same time, he lost the belt grip. Kodazakura also got a hand on his shoulder on the way down, but it was over in a flash. Hoshoryu went down on his hands. Ozeki Kodazakura has won the Yusho race by Hataki Komi slapdown. His first Yusho, that one he's been searching for all year. His grandfather, the Yokozuna Kodazakura, and his father, the Sekiwake, will be very proud. What he found this time, I think, was more consistency, more patience in defense. And obviously, using that patience, he had an incredible base to work with. My criticism of Kodazakura over the last year seemed to have vanished a little bit, as he seems a bit more like an Ozeki wrestler now, truly in search of promotion to Yokozuna, dominating his opponents, not a flash in the pan, but a work in progress to improve those weaknesses he has had all year, and certainly they were evident in September. For Hoshoryu, a fantastic tournament. His best tournament score of 13-2, a Jun Yusho to add to his record. Also demonstrated his clear intent to force his power on his opponents, only done by tactics by Abi and perhaps a little bit of a false start, but that is sport. Either way, it is clear that we are going to see, or we're closer to seeing, a Yokozuna next year from at least one of our Ozeki class at the moment. More likely Kodazakura, I'd say, and Hoshoryu now, as Onosato showed he has a little way to go in finding adaptability in his matches and a little bit of dominance in the way he approaches those matches. So that leaves Kodazakura now facing the January tournament, where if he wins, he is likely to be promoted to Yokozuna. Certainly the JSA would be desperate for a Japanese Yokozuna. But he may also face a returned and hopefully refreshed Yokozuna in Terunofuji, an opponent he has only beaten once in July last year, currently 7-1 in Terunofuji's favour. So after that match, let's do a roundup of the rest of the field from day 15. Onosato defeated Kirishima. Kirishima, he had a chance against the Ozeki when he doubled back and got around behind Onosato, but a pretty fast recovery, lovely pirouette saw Onosato turn on his heel and drove Kirishima out Oshidashi. Onosato finishing 9 and 6. Kirishima making Makekoshi 6 and 9. Wakamoto Haru beat Daisho Tsukiyatoshi. A big hit at the touch eye and a shift with a side hit by Wakamoto Haru had Daisho down on his hands right fast. Wakamoto Haru 10 and 5, Daisho 8 and 7, both with Kachikoshi. They'll be happy with that. Those two will be Sekiwake in January. Ashoma beat Shodai, both of them struggling. Komusubi Shodai gave a bit of resistance, but Ashoma Oshidashied him out relatively easy in the end, both at 4 and 11. Oho beat Nishikigi, who's returned to pretty much easy beat status in November after such a good tournament in September. His push seems to have left him again. A little bit of resistance to Oho, even giving him getting him close to the Tawara, but in the end, Oho is just stronger, gave him a decent push. The joy certainly hasn't been favourable to Oho, 6 and 9, Nishikigi 5 and 10. Hiradumi finished his horrible November with a win over Tsurunumi. Hira came out hard and just kept up the push. Shame he didn't make that happen earlier. Easy-ish Yorakiri in the end. A very motivated Hiradumi in that fight. Both finished 4 and 11. Wakataka Kage lost to Takanosho. Funny loss, this one. Wakataka Kage drove in hard, I wouldn't say head down maybe. Takanosho, he gave a couple of goes to get into the position to get his hand on the back of Wakataka Kage for the Hataki Komi slapdown. He kind of telegraphed that from a week ago, though, so I'm surprised Wakataka Kage fell for it. In the end, 10 and 5 for Waka, likely up to Sanyaku, where he belongs. I would think Komusubi in January. Takanosho 11 and 4. What could have been for him in the Yusho race. He'll be back to Megashira 1, I would think. Chiyoshima did a Midori Fuji on Ura and took him Katasakashi undershoulder swing down. Ura just went in too low on Chiyoshima. Chiyo got his hand straight up under the shoulder and withdrew his feet, pulling Ura down a little bit too easy. Another case of what could have been for Chiyoshima, 11 and 4 for him. Very good tournament. Ura having a bad November, 5 and 10. Gonoyama blasted Abi from the ring, 11 and 4 each. Big blast out there. Atami Fuji got in a body lock with an injured Mitokayumi and just worked him back and over the bales. Kachikoshi for Atami Fuji, he was on 7 and 7, so he'll be happy about that. Makekoshi for Mitokayumi, 7 and 8, but look, reducing the demotion damage there by coming back or staying, if anything. He probably would have been better off to go off for a couple of days and come back and try. Shononumi threw his weight around with Tobizaru, but to no effect. Tobizaru tried hard to keep Shononumi at arm's length. Tobizaru grabbed and tried a trip unsuccessfully, but in the end he made it look a little bit easy. Bit of a soft win as he pushed Shononumi over the edge. Oshidashi, it looked like Sho had kind of given up at that point. Tobizaru 9 and 6. Shononumi maybe saving himself from an injury, 8 and 7. That will be a welcome Kachikoshi for Shononumi at Megashira 13. Endo Nishikifuji engaged in a bit of a short arm lock. Endo used his last bit of power to drive Nishikifuji over the bales and likely onto the Juryo barge. 6 and 9 at Magashira 14. After his save for September, I would be surprised if he doesn't get a ticket to Juryo. Endo Magashira 7 and 7 and 8. Makekoshi, he'll be fine. He'll drop a few places. Midori Fuji already Makekoshi at 6 and 8. Limited the damage a bit by beating Onakatsu Yorakiri. Got Onakatsu on the drive and he just stepped out backwards under pressure. Midori Fuji 7 and 8 and pretty much in need of a Kachikoshi. He'll drop down to maybe Magashira 10 or 11 now. Onakatsu 9 and 6 at Magashira 15, guaranteeing himself a place in Makuuchi in January. Battle of the Big Lads had Takayasu losing to Hokuto Fuji. You can hear the power those pair put into it. They engaged in a bit of an arm wrestle, neither getting on the belt. Hokuto Fuji got himself into a position under Takayasu's arms. As Takayasu went to the bales, his feet weren't overly planted well. I wouldn't say he slipped, but he wasn't planted well. Hokuto Fuji used it to pull him down. Tsuki Otoshi diagonal thrust down. Hokuto Fuji, Makikoshi 7 and 8, losing record. Takayasu winning record. Kachikoshi 8 and 7. Ichi Yamamoto also was Nanasho Nanahai on 7 and 7, facing up to Sadnumi, but he got an easy Tsukiotoshi thrust down. Ichi 8 and 7, Kachikoshi Sadnumi. Say 4 and 11 at Magashira 12. He will need a Kachikoshi in January, or he'll be in deep strife. Takeda Fuji, he finished his tournament with a win over the veteran Tamawashi. Big drive got Takeda Fuji, a double inside body grip, used it to control Tamawashi. Tsukiotoshi diagonal knockdown there. Takeda Fuji, double digits, 10 and 5. Probably could have done better. Couple of early losses. Yeah, he'd be looking to improve a bit. Tamawashi, Kachikoshi, 8 and 7 also. Shishi, the Ukrainian, finished his tournament with a win, 5 and 10 for his Juryo Barge ticket. He got a win over Takada Fuji, an exchange of distraction slaps, which ended in a double inside grip for a Yorikuri for Shishi. 5 and 10 for him, as I said. Takada Fuji, 8 and 7. Shishi needs to work on his footwork a little bit and lateral movement. He's got a lot of good forwards and backwards, but not very good at the sideways stuff. Asakoryu, little pocket rocket. He's also on the Juryo Barge at 6 and 9. Makikoshi finished with a win over the brawler Meisei, who also finished Kachikoshi 8 and 7. Asakoryu, look, he's a go forward, aggressive little wrestler. He will return to Mikuchi fairly quickly, so I expect to see him back once he goes back to Juryo 1 or 2 tournaments. That's it for the November tournament. Expect more from our Ozekis next year. Finally, a Yusho for an Ozeki Korizakura this time. That will make the others even hungrier. I expect Hoshoryu will come back with a blast in January, and expect Onosato to come back better as well. Back to the drawing board for Kirishima, who will drop to Magashira. The Waka brothers, Waka Takakage and Wakamoto Haru, they did well and will both be in the Sanyaku ranks yet again. I kind of expect Waka Takakage to reach Ozeki next year, barring injury. An excellent tournament for those pair overall. Look, it was hard to go past Kirishima and Hoshoryu on day 14 for some of the fights of the tournament. Massive lift-out Suridashi win for Hoshoryu. Like I said, day 7, Hiradumi and Daisho. An epic thrusting battle was added to the fight of the year list for me as well. Tobizaru's win and little pirouette on the bales to take the win over Chiranumi on day 2. That was worth watching. And finally, Onakatsu and Shishi, they had a really good battle on day 3. Just a short note, someone I'm following in Jonadan Najima, he got himself a really good tournament, finished 6 and 1, just behind the leaders for the Yusho in Jonadan, but a 6 and 1 will see him rise back up to probably about Jonadan 10 or 15. So that's it for November, the November Grand Sumo Tournament in Kyushu. I've got some more content coming in December before the January tournament, if I can get my act together and finish some editing. I hope you've enjoyed my reviews this tournament. Join me again next time. Hakuo listeners, let's learn sumo.